And now, after years of planning, sweating, and going broke, here is the Boots and Whiskey Podcast with Jim Belisle.
And it left the media.
Why they would give this man a podcast is anyone's guess.
Then there is what could only be a bizarre coincidence or something else.
Welcome to the Boots and Whiskey Podcast with Jim Belisle.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
Country music and fine moonshine. Finally, a podcast that lets it all hang out.
Let's level with America.
Got your boots? Ready for some whiskey?
These boots are made for walking.
One of these days, these boots are gonna walk all over you.
And now, the Boots and Whiskey Podcast with Jim Belisle.
Hey everyone, Jim here, Boots and Whiskey Podcast. Welcome back to another episode of the show. Today we welcome back Austin Snell to the program. The first time we talked to Austin, we got into some, the normal stuff. And then this time we got into him, which is awesome. He just got engaged. He's got a lot of things going on. He just did Country Thunder, I think over the weekend. I could have my dates wrong, but he is here. Thank you so much to him for coming back. Such a good dude. And we hope you enjoy. What did we do this weekend? We saw Hardy, Muscadine Bloodline opened, McCoy Moore opened. Absolutely incredible show. McCoy Moore, if you haven't seen this kid, lights out, absolute killer of a set. Muscadine, as always, just killers. And then Hardy just killed it, as always. So, if you can see Hardy, always see Hardy. That's kind of my thing. And I know I get a lot of heat for that, but I like him. And that's it. So sit back, relax, enjoy. Austin Snell is here. Cheers. Hey.
What it's really like.
Makes you look like an actual human and not just,
Yeah, let the people see what it's really like out here, man.
So how's things, man?
Dude, they're good, man. Just got engaged, planning a wedding. Just put out a project, writing some love songs now, which is nice, a nice switch up from where we were.
Yeah. I think I saw on Instagram that you had gotten engaged, and that was recent, right?
The whole project is or the whole Colors music video. Colors is the title track off of the EP, and I got engaged in the music video. So it was super cool. That whole song is kind of just built around that.
So did she have any idea going in?
Man, you know what? She said that she had no clue, which I'm surprised because I was a weird fellow that day because I was extremely nervous, dude.
Yeah.
Extremely nervous. I would have been nervous regardless, but I feel like, I don't know, there was 10 cameras around all day, and I had to act normal, and we had to film an entire music video before the proposal. So, I was nervous.
Trust me, I get it. When I proposed to my ex-wife, I was a basket case all day, and we had flown into Florida that day, and I proposed in Disney.
Yeah.
And she was at the end of the night, she's like, what is the problem? What is going on with you today? You haven't said a word. We're in one of your favorite places ever. And you don't even want to look at me. And I was well, that's because, it's.
I don't know if it's, I've gotten better at I don't know, hiding nerves because of the performing and stuff.
Sure.
But dude, I mean, I thought for sure she would notice a difference on how I was acting, and she said that she didn't notice any difference. So I guess I was pretty good at hiding my nerves, but my world was burning down on the inside.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, no, man. It's now when you were starting this project and the song and all that, did you know your intentions at that point?
No, not really. I mean, I wrote the song, I guess last year. And I mean, I knew it was a special song. I knew it was really good. And I had tried to, write love songs in the past for her. And it just has kind of always been too polished. The love song has felt too polished. That's just not, any love that I've ever experienced. Love is not 24/7 polished all the time.
Right.
You go through your ups and downs and the roller coaster, and I just felt like I had never really heard a love song talk about those kind of things. and still be a love song. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I wanted to write her love song that kind of just explained, how it actually is, and like, I'm going to love you through any of the ups and downs, and like talk about what the ups and downs are. And like, that's kind of where the song came from. And after we wrote it, I told the guys I wrote it with Johnny Clausen and Laylo. And I was like, I think the song's really good. And like, the more I listened to it, I was like, dude, this is like something really special. And we started sitting down and talking about projects for the year, and what they were going to be, and this and that. And, a lot of the songs that I'd been writing were kind of more introspective, mental health leaning type stuff. And we were talking about when the timing of the project would come out, and we were, kind of passing around ideas. And I was like, man, the EP is kind of sounding like it's going to come out around Mental Health Awareness Month anyway. And so let's just make the entire project that. Like, let's try to make that the entire essence of the project. And, I talk about my own personal past, and like, some of the trials and stuff that I've been through in life. And then it kind of ends on the where I'm at now note. And it's the, engagement. I'm getting engaged. I'm in love. And that's kind of where the whole project leads to. So that's kind of how it kind of came to be. It was just honestly, I was writing those kind of songs, and I've been in kind of a mindset of, not running away from a feeling of writing a certain way. And the songs were kind of just happening, and it just happened the way it did. So,
and that's the essence of life too, right? Not just
oh,
about running away
absolutely.
from songs, but like, when you're in relationships that are, dare I say, healthy, and I don't mean that, negatively, right? But like,
Mhm.
from the sounds of it, it hasn't always gone that way, right? And I've been in that boat, right?
Yeah.
And it's tough when, you're in your head all the time, right? Or whatever, right? You're going through shit, and then you do have somebody that does give a shit and isn't going to just run away at the first sign of, you know, oh, he's crashing or things aren't going well,
Yeah.
and they pack and run,
Right. Right. Yeah. It's an ever evolving kind of, you have to be there for yourself as well,
Yeah,
for the other person, but you also have to have a person that will allow you to be there for yourself, and do those kind of things. Um, it's a team effort, man. It's a team effort. And outside of, wife relationship, like even friendships, like I try to surround myself with friends that will do the same thing, and let you, go through your hard times and be there when you need them, and this and that. And so relationships are a huge part of, even coming out of a time like that. So,
right. Now let me ask you this, right? Because I know from my experience it's been strange, but like, do you find that, when it comes to friendships, right, not non-romantic relationships, do you find that they're easier for you to, I don't want to say deal with and make it sound negative, but like, be able to be more, less guarded, or do you find it not as easy?
um, I don't know. As far as, like dealing with my everyday stressors, I would say, yeah, probably. Um, but as far as like my actual mental health, and like, uh, things that like I've actually been through in life, and like hard times in my past, I would say, it's hard either way.
Yeah,
It's hard
right,
for me to, let guard down regardless of who it is. Um, and I think that's kind of why Allie and I kind of have grown so close to each other, because she kind of grew up the same way. Like, she grew up and didn't have the best childhood, and like didn't see the best examples of love growing up. And that's been kind of like our whole bag, our whole relationship is like, hey, we both know what this looks like on the bad end of it. And we're both kind of on board with, what we don't want to see in a relationship, because
yeah,
we've seen it, you
right,
know what I mean? And so in that regard, it's a lot easier to have that person in your life.
right. And like,
Um,
this industry doesn't help, like,
Oh no,
at
dude.
all.
No, this industry will chew you up and spit you out for sure.
Right.
And a lot of the times they don't care, you
No,
know.
no,
Um and yeah, it's definitely beneficial to have somebody that, kind of understands what it was like before, and like where you've been. And because I met Allie right before I put out my first song.
okay,
And so we've been together for, a few years now, and she's kind of gotten to grow with me through all of everything. You know, she's got to see me
Right.
with the big, you know, splash in the beginning and like all this crazy shit happening and like I don't know what's going on, and then me figuring it out, and then me, you know, making, you know, not the best decisions in my career, and like she's got to see me grow through all of my stages, and you know I've gotten to watch her do the same because she's a wardrobe stylist, so she's also, you know, doing her own thing as well. So
Right.
it's been great to have that support
Yeah.
system for sure.
Absolutely. And I'm sure like that side of it, the one she's in, isn't any less stressful.
Oh, no, dude, no, the music industry, I guess it's just, I mean, it's owning your own business anywhere, you know. I mean, it's a little more stressful. We were talking about this the other day. We went and got barbecue the other day, and or no, it wasn't barbecue. We went to a breakfast diner, and you know, the waitresses and stuff were just delivering or giving food or whatever. And I was like, you know, I kind of miss like just clocking into work
Right.
and then clocking out, and not having to worry about anything after I clock out of work. Like I don't have to think about work until I wake up and clock in the next day. And you know, the essence of owning any sort of business, you know, the music industry is, you know, the same way, I guess, in some senses. Owning a business is just like it's on you, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. It's
Whatever's going to happen
24/7.
is 24/7 up to you. And it's hard to clock out sometimes. It's hard to get home and have a hard day and clock out of work if you're worried about something that's going to happen, or like to selling a tour or selling an album or whatever it is. And yeah, it's a constant reminder of this, you know, won't always be here. And so it's trying to make the best out of it while you can.
Yeah. You know, I know the last time we had talked, I had just, I don't want to say just, well, yeah, kind of just. I had just seen you open for Brantley, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all that. Like, since then to now, what has things been looking like? You know, like, because I mean, you're on, when you go from like a major tour, and like I'm awful at keeping tabs on everybody, right? There's just so
Mm-hmm.
many people, right?
Yeah, of course.
And which is also good because it's like when you come back, we have something to talk about. It's like,
Absolutely.
so tell me what's been going on, because I don't fucking know, you know.
Yeah, man.
But like, what's been happening since then? I mean, other than music and that sort of thing and getting engaged, like, what's
Yeah.
this year looking like?
Yeah. I mean, I think as far as music, you know, just more music's on the way coming out, and always working on the music. But really, I feel a lot more settled into where I'm at. It took me a couple of years to kind of fully, you know, get a grasp on everything going on. And there's also the aspect of, you know, when I first moved to town, I I was I was in Nashville for 6 months before I signed my publishing deal and my record deal, and kind of got thrown into the whole thing. So like when you go from not having anything and like maxed out 4 credit cards and like no money at all, to then signing your first record deal in 6 months and moving to town, it's like it's a pretty big cultural switch. Um, and so it took me, you know, a couple 2-3 years to kind of really get settled into how this is going to work, and like dealing with, you know, the yeses and the nos and the you know, the shows that I'm playing on my own and stuff like that. And I would say, you know, this year is really just a more settled in version of me, and not really trying to impress anybody. I felt like I always had to impress somebody, I guess, early on. And um, it kind of takes a toll on the music as well, because, you know, I had gotten to a space of, you know, I was asking myself the question in the writing room, like, okay, I need to write this song because I think these people are going to like it, or I think the label is going to like this song, or I think so and so is going to, you know, like this song, or whatever it is. And I don't know, I kind of just, I was getting to a place where like I didn't feel like I was making the music I wanted to make really anymore. Um, and music has kind of just always been, you know, a version of therapy for me. That's how it started, you know, even when I was just listening to music. And that's kind of why I started writing songs. And this year I kind of really got back to that space of like, okay, I'm going to write this song because I need to get this off of my chest. And like,
Right.
if somebody listens to this song, then that's obviously great and that's successful. But if they don't, like, at least I didn't write this song because I thought that they would and they didn't. I wrote this song because I wanted this song, and it's going to do what it's going to do. So that's kind of what's changed for me. I mean, as far as just life in general is just settling in. You know, we got a house. We're out of the downtown apartments now. We're in a house now and out of the city a little bit. And I grew up in South Georgia, so like I want to be as far away from, the downtown city and chaos as possible.
Right.
So we're kind of a little further out from the city and kind of just enjoying life together and, going to get married this year and all that and play some more shows. We'll probably do, another headline tour, I would assume at some point. Always new music coming. So,
you had mentioned it when you do go from, 0 to 60, right, in this industry, right? Because you hear about it all the time where it takes people a decade. They don't call it a 10-year town for no reason, right? Does a part of you wish you had that?
there's a pro and a con to it. I mean, obviously, it was financially a blessing for me to have this all happen. And like, I grew up kind of like lower middle class. My parents, worked blue collar jobs and, we got by. And so I kind of grew up, trying to figure it out. And, when you hit the point of, I'm not rich by any means, but like I'm good, and like my bills are paid, and like there's food on the table and stuff like that. And so when you go from growing up like that to this, it's like obviously a blessing. Like I will never ever take that for granted. There's a lot of learning that there is to be had being in town with nothing going on.
Right.
And when I signed my record deal, like I had never really even played a show before, and like I'd never really sat down and thought like, okay, when this happens, what do I want people to take away from my career? And like, what do I want to be? What do I want to stand for? Like, what do I want like my fans to know that I believe in? And I was in town for 6 months. Like I didn't really have a lot of time to like sit with myself and like try and figure it out. And at the base level, I didn't even play any shows. So like when I signed my stuff and went on my first tour, I was trying to figure out how to play shows. I was trying to figure out how to write songs still. I was trying to figure out what I wanted my brand to be like and what I wanted the songs to sound like. And there was a lot of just kind of like learning on the fly, which is usually how I learn best anyway. So like I don't want to talk too much crap about it, but like I definitely, looking back, like it would have been nice to have, some time to figure some things out for sure beforehand.
Now, this is not a slight against you or anything like that, right? Because we've talked about the last time, I love what you're doing and your sound and all that. But like, do you talk about how quickly everything happened, right? Now, do you think that's like a blessing and a curse of this social media, internet, 24/7, like in your face, everything right there?
For sure. Yeah. That's definitely why things are happening for a lot of people now is
Right.
social media. And it is a blessing and a curse, like it's never been easier to get your music out to people than it is now. I can write a song today and post it tonight, and tomorrow I can be a national touring country music
Could be the
artist.
biggest song ever.
And it's never been easier, but also I do like kind of think it was super sick the way things were back in the day. Like I always make this reference of like, you didn't know what Alan Jackson was doing. When I was 12 years old, 11 years old, the only time I got to see Alan Jackson was if it was on a billboard or at a concert or hear him on the radio. Other than that, Alan Jackson was like this like mystic creature that like, was just like out of this world.
Right.
And that's like super cool, like that's like the artist, like that's the rock star thing.
Yeah.
And it does like, I feel like take a little bit out of it whenever you have to post to stay relevant.
Right.
And like people have to know what you're eating for breakfast today, or like I'm going to the gym in an hour. Like I'm going to probably post something of that. And you have to post like your everyday life. And so like I always tell people that music is like, maybe 30% of my job, and the rest of it is social media. Like like social media is my profession.
Yeah.
Music is just what I do on social media.
Right.
And so it's there's a positive and negative to everything, but like I said, I'll never, try not to take that for granted, because I could be I could still be working a blue collar job like I was doing before, and I hated that. So
it's funny because it's like you see it all the time where it's like these guys or these girls will pop off, right? And before TikTok and social media as the stranglehold that it is, we had Idol, right? And then like, those people would, quote unquote, come out of nowhere. And, because you would hear it all the time, like, oh, this person just came out of nowhere, was on this show and signed a deal. And like, they don't talk about all the trials and tribulations before they get to the show, right? Because some
Right.
of them had it, some of them didn't, right?
Yeah.
But now it's like you could win. I've talked to people that have won Idol in the last, year or two that nobody knows who the hell they are. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things where it's like you can get that flash, and if you don't know how to ride the wave, like I'm sure it's easy to be like, at the top of the game and be like, everybody's looking at me, to 6 months later, nobody knows or cares who the hell you are,
Yeah.
and not want to climb in a hole and say, fuck this, I'm going home.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And I think that kind of goes back to, me wishing I had a little bit more time to figure out exactly who that person was. And, um, really, because I mean, when that happens, like you said, it's so easy to, listen to opinions of other people once you get a whole team behind you. And, the people are just trying to help. Like they're all just trying to, it's a business, and like we're all trying to, help each other. And like we all want to make money together. That's like obviously why we're in the business, is to, put food on the table. And so it's, for one, easy to listen to outside opinions when that first starts happening. It's also easy to get in your own head when that stuff starts happening. And it's just like, okay, it worked one time. I hope it's going to work again, or else I'm screwed. And, you just have to like be confident and know who you are. At the very least, know who you are. And, yeah, that's, I feel like that's why it works for some people and some people it doesn't, because they get caught up in the noise and like, you know, switch up too many times, and you end up losing who you are as a person. Yeah.
Even you were talking about even how you're going through all this, right? And, kind of finding yourself and navigating and settling into who you are, right? You must still have that notion of like, if I don't put out, and you kind of talked about it, forget about the social media aspect of it, but like the music aspect of it. Like, do you have that feeling of, if I'm not putting out a song every 4 to 6 weeks or whatever, like I might as well just sell the house and go back to Georgia?
Yeah, there's an aspect of that for sure. And I think that's kind of what I was kind of going down when I was talking about growth, and just, the last 2 years has been that for me. And it's been stressful, man. It does get stressful heavily, especially when you start comparing yourself to other people. Because after like the 2 year mark, you start seeing the people that are just now moving to town, and you do see the people that are like overnight successes, and like, you start here, you go here, and then you're here for a little while, and then somebody down here goes up here, and you're like, well, what am I doing? And it's a dangerous comparison game for sure. And I mean, there's an aspect of that for sure, and that's one of the hardest parts, is comparing. But that's kind of where I've been, the last year, is just kind of growing out of that, and just really, honestly, I mean, diving back into my faith as well. Is just like, there's a reason for everything that happens, and there's a plan, at the end of the day, and I'm gonna do what I can do to to do what I want, and if that's in God's will, then like it'll happen, and if it's not, then like we'll figure it out from there. You know what I mean? Uh, that's kind of just where I've been at, man. And it's a lot more stress free of an environment to be in. It's just, I enjoy making music. I'm gonna make music, and I'm gonna go play shows for the people that I know are gonna show up to the shows. If it builds from there, it builds from there. If it doesn't, then like we're chilling. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm happy with the music I'm putting out.
Now,
But
I know you had talked about, there was an intent, right, with this project and putting it out and writing the songs the way, even though you have an intention, right, as you're going through the process and a song comes up or whatever that maybe doesn't fit that mold, right? Do you have a lot of that going on where you're already looking forward to or putting together what's next? I know I know it's all brand new and all that, but like, you know, talking about growth, right? What's next? You always have to be looking at what's next,
Mhm.
unfortunately, right?
Yeah, Yeah,
Now,
absolutely.
are you there yet, or are you still?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm talking about, music a year from now already.
Right.
I'm always kind of thinking of what the next project is, and just kind of floating around different things. Uh, I will say that I've enjoyed this release a lot more than I have in the past, and I have kind of sat with it, and I'm sure the engagement is part of it. Like I'm newly engaged, and that's part of the whole essence of the title track is that. And so we're planning a wedding now, and so like it's kind of hard to leave that that chapter in life right now. I'm fully invested into getting married, and so like that song's gonna live with me all year.
Yeah. Right.
And but yeah, for sure, there's always that. Absolutely. I'm excited for next year's music and the music after that. But I will say that this EP, like, it kind of gives people a little bit of everything, I would say. Like I said, it is a mental health driven project. But I guess for all my projects that I've put out is like I try to treat it like a live show. And like I kind of try to order the songs like I would order songs in a live show. And so, we start out with a song called Daddy's Eyes, and that talks about, me growing up and watching my dad not be the best to my mom. And um, you go from there to, a slightly less sad topic. And then you kind of hit the middle ground of like, okay, these songs would be sick live. And that kind of brings up the tempo, and like they're less sad. And like there's a song called You Being You, and it's about meeting a girl in a bar and like going home with her. And so like I try to, at the same time, like I want to tell the story that I want to tell, but I also want to have balance in the record. And so somebody can turn on this record and listen to the thing top to bottom,
Yeah.
and not just completely be sad the entire time. I don't know. That's just
No.
what I try to anyway.
Yeah. Now, while you're doing this, how many songs, or were there any songs that didn't make it, that looking back you're like, I wish we could have squeezed in a couple more?
Not really. Because there's always, the next project. And whenever I say, when I end up saying no to a song on a project, it's for no other reason other than it just doesn't fit what this is right now.
Yeah, sure.
And just because a song gets cut from this EP of 7 songs doesn't mean, I don't love it and it won't be on a next project. So we're sitting on, I try to always be sitting on at least like 50 songs that like
Really?
I'm in love with. Yeah. We probably have 40, 50 songs that like I'm
Damn.
pretty down solid on for sure. And it's just kind of like sourcing them out and just like putting them here and putting them there. And I will say that one of the hardest parts about creating a project is I'm always writing. And so when it gets down to like, okay, this is the nail in the coffin, like this is the project, there's always a song that I write that week that I'm like, oh, this has to get thrown in here, dude. There's no way. We can't leave this song behind. And it's just, I don't know. I always end up writing a song last minute that like ends up being a super pivotal part of the project. And it stresses the team out for sure. But
I'm sure those are the songs that fit the best too.
absolutely. Yeah. And because also when you start getting into the weeds of a project, like you end up, in more of a headspace of like, okay, I know what this is missing. Like I know what like needs to fill this gap or whatever it is. And that's the fun part, man. It's just trying to piece the puzzle together. So
yeah, I bet. Now, so is this song going to be your wedding song, or do you have like a not,
No, dude. I don't know. We did. I've always said that I don't want my music at my wedding. Like
Sure, yeah,
I just
right.
I want to have whatever else there. Like I want the wedding to be about getting married and not anything to do with my career. And I don't know, dude. It's hard. I guess that'll be her decision. She can do it if she wants, but we used it as the proposal, so like that's already part of everything.
Sure, yeah.
So I don't know. I would rather just have a DJ there and listen to Waka Flocka and dance or something. I don't know.
I think that for me, right, like this is such a guy answer, but I get to choose my wife and I's wedding song, and that was the most stressful thing I'd ever been through in my entire life. Like I could leave people out to not come. Like that's totally fine. But like the song, you want me to pick the song for, you know, what should
So
have
like
been.
the first dance
Right.
song.
Right. What should have been the rest of our lives. You know what I mean? That no stress, no big deal. You know?
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I'm letting her take the reins on that.
Yeah.
She's kind of just planning the whole thing, uh, so that'll be on her. But
Yeah. Now, how you don't have to disclose anything, but like, how are you going to maneuver, you know, a tour or whatever's coming up at the end of the year around all of this?
um, I mean, I would assume we haven't really gotten any plans in place. Um, I would assume it'd be similar to in the past. You know, in the past we've, you know, top of the year we've done the big, you know, opener thing, and like a couple years ago we did Aldine, and last year we did Brantley Gilbert, and this year we kind of did our own thing. This year we kind of did a headline leg of like the last year tour early this year, and then we'll do festival season, which is right now. So we're doing all that right now and doing the fairs and stuff, and then usually in the fall we end up doing like our own thing, and touring the project that's out. So I would have to assume that would be what we end up doing. Um, but yeah, I don't know what we're doing yet. We'll see.
Nice. Well, we can't wait. You know,
You know as much as I do, man. I ain't got a clue.
listen, I don't have a clue much of anything. You know, like it's
Me either, man.
you know it. I was saying to somebody the other day where we were chatting and they were like, "Wow, you had like no idea about me at all," and I was like, "No, like it's not intentional, right? I mean, it kind of is, you know, but like."
Yeah.
You know, if I know everything that we're going to talk about,
Right, exactly. And
you
dude,
know,
also like I prefer it that way also because I mean, dude, there's also just so much music to digest right now.
right, right,
And it's part of the whole social media TikTok thing is just like people are I mean, almost every artist is putting out, you know, at the mid-level tier, like every artist is putting out a song every 4 to 6 weeks.
right, right,
And dude, if there's so many artists that are doing that, it's hard to I mean, there's no way that you can
right.
give
Like
it the attention that it needs to be given, you know?
this is the perfect example. I had talked to this girl a couple of weeks ago, last week, week before, 2 weeks ago, and I had no idea who the hell she was. Like the email came through, like I had listened to a couple of songs. I was like, yeah, this sounds great. Like let's have a chat, right? Didn't dive into her at all. We had the whole conversation again, still not knowing who she was. And then like afterwards, I was like, maybe I should look this girl up on Instagram because like, she talked like she knew what the hell she was talking about and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then come to find out she has this huge following. She's on tour with Avriana. And I'm like, oh, like this girl's like, could be going somewhere. Had no idea.
Yeah. Dude, that's how you get the most genuine conversation too,
Right.
though. And I mean, I think that, you know, in a world where most interviews that I do are just the same questions over and over and over again,
Right.
you learn to appreciate somebody that either doesn't know who you are or didn't have a plan coming into the interview.
No.
And it's just like having a normal conversation, which is super refreshing to have. So,
Yeah. And
um,
I know I drive some PR teams out there fucking crazy, right? Because
yeah,
they're like, there's like, here's all the things you can touch upon. I'm like, that email gets deleted real quick. Like,
yeah,
because it's
yeah,
a lot of it is, honest to God, like I work a normal job during the day, and I just don't have time. I love doing this. We're in year 5, and the way we've done it works. Like, why am I going to start now, digging into the nitty gritty of what Austin's doing on his days, like,
yeah.
why don't you tell me, because that's what
Right.
we're here for.
Exactly. Yeah. No, the most artists appreciate that for sure.
And like, that's the consensus I found, and like, I've talked to some big names. I've talked to some real nobodies, like, and like, it's the same thing over and over again, where it's like, wow, that was actually,
Yeah.
it was actually nice to have a conversation with somebody that didn't quote unquote do their homework beforehand.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It becomes inhuman really quick whenever
Right.
you're, answering the same 5 questions every time. And,
Right. Right.
the answer,
it's
become the answer becomes less and less human every time I give the answer.
right.
And it just kind of ends up feeling like, you rehearsed it. which
And
is kind of boring. But
I've seen podcasts or listened to podcasts where it's like, you can tell those people have either been in the industry forever or worked in radio at some point, and it's like, there's a few out there that if I want to like go to sleep real quick, that's what I'm going to put on because you're just so like, you can tell already what it's going to be.
yeah,
You don't have to
yeah,
pay attention to it. But
yeah, absolutely,
dude,
absolutely.
man, I appreciate you and coming back on again and
I appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me,
filling
dude.
us in on what's going on. And dude, you gotta get yourself back up here and
For sure.
do a you show without anybody. Well, obviously have an opener, but you
Yeah,
know, you know,
yeah,
can
dude. Yeah,
hang out.
we're always trying to tour new places. We did a West Coast part of the Home Sweet Hell tour from last year. We added another leg to the tour and did a West Coast run. And we'd never toured on the West Coast, so we started out, in Cal. We'd been out with other people before, like opened up on the West Coast. But we were kind of talking, late last year of just what we wanted to do, and I was like, I just want to go play some places that we've never tried before. And we were like, well, we've never been to the West Coast, and so we did some shows. We started in Anaheim, California, and we drove up the coast, and then we ended up west in Colorado. And dude, we sold out like half the shows on the tour,
Nice.
and you know, that was unreal. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, dude, I want to go some places we've never been before, and like go back to the places we know we love, and go do the whole thing. So, and we're building a whole new show this year too. I mean, I'm sure it'll be a lot different than in the past, and like I'm excited to dive into all that. So, well, I'd love to be back up there, man. That'd be
Yeah,
sick.
man. Well, next time you're up in the New England area, because at this point, I know people come to, they'll come to like the western part of Connecticut or New Hampshire or, and like nobody, it's weird. It's a weird scene up here. It works, but for some reason people think that, if we go to Massachusetts or Rhode Island, nobody's going to turn up, and that's not true at all.
Yeah, I ain't scared, dude. I'll come out there.
But yeah, and next time you're up here, man, we'll get together and
Absolutely.
have a drink and shoot the shit.
I'd love that, man.
All right, buddy. Well, have
Oh
a
yeah.
great rest of your day. Thanks for coming on. Congratulations with everything.
Thank you
It's
so much, dude. I appreciate you.
don't fuck it up.
Dude, no, I couldn't. All right,
All
bro.
right,
We'll
bud.
see you.
See ya.
Thank
Well, there you have it, everybody. Austin Snell joining us again on the program. So thank you again, Austin, for coming on and shooting the shit. And you know what I love about this episode is like how real Austin was in it. Like, just regular guy, no glitz, no glamour, got the fucking, he talks about it. He's got all, the glasses, the thing, just a regular dude. And we appreciate that aspect of it and why we do this show. So thanks for tuning in. And there's still two other episodes that came out today. We have Logan Mack, who you do not want to miss that episode. And then Sterling Elza, another episode you don't want to miss. So check it out, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.